Alright, much Abrew about nothing. Playing some Enchantress in Legacy. And we'll play first. I think we can keep this. We get Leyline, and we can Sterling Grove for card draw in Enchantress's presence. So, Forest, Utopia Sprawl on white. Pass turn. Island for our opponent, and Ponders. Another Utopia Sprawl. Well, Caracas and Sterling Grove. I think our opponent's thinking about forcing. They let it go, though. I guess there's a question as to whether we should sack it. If we sack this and they force Enchantress's presence, that's pretty bad for us. On the other hand, our hand right now isn't doing anything. Brainstorm for our opponent. I mean, hopefully we just draw into card draw. Polluted Delta, cracks it. Shuffles away some stuff. And Ponder. So this is probably a combo deck? They could still have Force, though. Leyline might keep us safe for the time being, depending on what our opponent's playing. And we have Solitary Confinement, which will keep us safe. The question is whether we can keep it alive. We draw a Forest. Yeah, let's just rest in peace. Get rid of the graveyards, play the Forest, pass the turn. We also want to be careful about playing too many enchantments, because then we're going to not have access to card draw when we need it. We do have the ability, though, to sack that Sterling Grove. It just seems so risky, because if it gets countered, then we lose our protection on ley lines. We lose a draw. Man, our opponent has a lot of cantrips. Another Polluted Delta. I'm still not exactly sure what they're on. Another ley line. Alright, let's just pass the turn for now. Still want to keep a critical mass of enchantments for when we draw a card draw. Also, if we get in a position where we just have to play Solitary Confinement, we want that as well. Right now we have an Emrakul covered, thanks to Caracas. If that's the plan, like show and tell an Emrakul. Well, our opponent's going to be out of brainstorms pretty soon. 3 brainstorms, 2 ponders. But their hand has to be just about perfect. Delta cracks it. Dark Ritual. Alright, so this is a Storm deck. Infernal Tutor. For another Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual, I'm assuming they have a way to kill us, even through Dark Ritual, even through our ley line, or they wouldn't be doing this. Ad nauseum. Top Dress, Lotus Petal, Dress, Dark Ritual, Empty. I guess that's probably the plan, is Empty. Dark Petition. Our opponent's probably got to stop, because they're to the point where they could just die. They have the mana, right? Swamp, Swamp, Dark Ritual. Oh, actually, how much of this stuff is exiled, though? At least 2 Dark Rituals. Because some of those Dark Rituals are exiled. They have 1 Dark Ritual. So Ritual, Lotus Petal, Empty. There's the Ritual. Lotus Petal. LED. Maybe our fears of Force were overblown. Preordain. And there's the Empty. Alright. 1,000,000 tokens. Now I think what we got to do is sack Sterling Grove. Now we can't really play around the force. We need to get a moat. If our opponent has a counter, then we lose. So even a duress, even a daze. All right, got the moat down. Cabal Ritual. Can they Dark Petition for an answer? And they do not have an answer. Sweet. Alright, well, I guess our worries about force were a bit overblown. So, Storm A. Well, Stony Silence actually seems good. Ruined Halo. Solitary Confinement. O-Ring doesn't do much. Elephant Grass does stop Goblin tokens. I guess we can go down one, though. Humility is not good. Gotta find 2 more cuts. We could go down Word of War, probably. Well, that was a really bad draw for us, but we still kind of managed to just lock them out. The moat worked out well that game. We might want to leave it just as a tutor target. I think Solitary Confinement's actually important. Let's go like this. Again, no card draw, but we do have Stony Silence, which could be good. Our opponent went to 6. We have Stony Silence, Solitary Confinement. See if we get wrecked by discard here. Opponent probes. So, yes, probably. We're leaning pretty hard on the Stony Silence. I guess Sterling Grove does help. That searches up what we need. Island. And passes. Well, Savannah, go. Not really worried about Wasteland out of this deck. Misty. Let's just Plains and Stony Silence. Stops a lot of their artifact mana. Also, kinda shuts down their tutors, Inferno Tutor, since they can't crack LED to discard their hand. Doesn't stop it, but it makes it a lot worse. Ooh, there we go. Well, now we take a turn off for Enchantress's presence. And now, all the enchantments we play also draw us a card. And we're going to have a pretty powered up Seer Sanctum. And we have Solitary Confinement for the lock. So if we can make it another turn or two, our opponent might have to go for it here. But it seems like Stony Silence is going to make it hard. Because that's how they get their various colors of mana. Opponent passes. Let's see. So let's lead on Wild Growth. Draw a card. And then Sterling Grove. Draw a card. And then Elephant Grass. Draw a card. Seer Sanctum. Rest in Peace. And I think we just go Solitary Confinement. Pass the turn. Now I think we have it pretty well locked at the moment. We actually have the win in hand if our opponent doesn't have a counter or anything. And we have Shroud. And our Solitary Confinement, which is giving us Shroud, also has Shroud. So our opponent has to go through a bunch of steps without mana. Thanks to Stony Silence. So I think we just have this. Opponent finds a land. Cracks Blue to Delta. Gets a Swamp. Cracks Misty. Gets a Trop. Abrupt Decays the Sterling Grove. Alright, that's fine. So we let Elephant Grass go. Discard our second Stony Silence. And then let's Enchantress's presence, draw a card. Argothian Enchantress. Sarah Sanctum, keep the new one. Runed Halo, draw 3 cards. We'll set it on Tendrils. And then we'll just try to Helm, see if our opponent has no counter. Oh no, that's a no-bow. Oh. Ah, our opponent scooped it up. They did not I don't know if they realize that we are locked out of using our own helm because of Stony Silence. I guess it puts them in a position where if they kill our Stony Silence, then we get to activate it, but we couldn't actually just win there because Stony Silence was locking down our Helm of Obedience. Alright, well, we are up to 3-0. We're just kind of cruising through this league with Enchantress.